Today's a scorcher.
You said you needed some help with something. What's going on?
Something's happened. Oh, a real mess. And I need help from someone reliable.
What is it?
When I was fishing around for information about Liechtenstein, I cast the net a bit too wide. And one of the servant girls I questioned was just found dead.
You think she was killed because of you?
I don't know. If I did, I wouldn't be asking you for help.
I'll help you. Tell me all about it. Who was this dead girl?
Her name was Alice. She was an ordinary, pretty girl. She worked as a maid. I heard they found her all hacked up, tossed somewhere by the town wall. Oh, folk in town are saying it was absolute slaughter. They took the body to the morgue by the St. Peter and St. Paul cemetery.
I'll go take a look at her. See if I can find anything.
I think that would be for the best. Though, I don't think it'll be a very pretty sight. You can ask the gravedigger for details. He'll know the most.
When did you last see the girl?
Around a week ago?
And did you notice anything suspicious about her?
Not at all. She was always cheerful, lively. Though I'm afraid she won't be dancing ever again.
What was Alice trying to find out for you?
She always brought me the freshest gossip overheard from her master. And lately, what the other maids in town were saying.
And did you learn anything important from her? Something someone would kill her for?
That's the thing. All she brought me was gossip. Who was cheating on who wasn't going to confession. So you'll have to figure out the rest for yourself.
What about your other girls? Are they all right?
Yes, fortunately. I'm careful enough to keep them pretty much in the dark about my... That's why Alice's death shocked me so much.
Do you think there could be something bigger behind the murder?
I don't know. Maybe she just got caught up in something. But it's strange. Why would someone do her like that? That's the kind of thing you do when you want to send someone a message.
What are you going to do next?
I'd like to ask the others if they noticed anything suspicious. If someone is following them and the like, but...
But you don't want to scare them?
I'm scared myself. For them. Maybe nobody knows about them yet. If someone was to follow me, I could give them away. And I can't risk that.
What if I go and see them?
They don't know you, Henry. You'd only scare them. I'll figure something out. In the meantime, find out everything you can about Alice.
Why did you ask me in particular for help?
Because you're the only one I know here.
Aha.
But don't take it the wrong way. I'm actually glad it's you. You're pretty reliable. Not even Zhishka would be of much help to me here.
Aha. Thanks. I know everything I need.
Good. Go to that graveyard. In the meantime, I'll try to find out more. Then we'll put it all together, and I'll be damned if we can't come up with something.
God be with you. Keep the peace and we'll stay friends.
How come you weren't in church on Sunday?
I wasn't feeling well.
Not feeling well, eh?
So, let's see what we have here. My God. Someone really did a number on her. Oh, they ripped open her entire bed. There must have been buckets of blood. Jesus Christ. There's hardly any blood left in her. The place they found her must look like a slaughterhouse. Her lips are bloody, but nothing more. But if he killed her for blabbing, I reckon he'd have cut out her tongue or something, wouldn't he? These are more like chops than cuts. Somebody must have taken a sword to her. But it couldn't have been a long sword. That would have been clumsy. It was something shorter, and then, God, that madman cut off both. What did he do with it all afterwards? Oh, better not to think about it. Her face is a little bruised and cut, but nobody cut her there. But she has a dark ring around her neck. Was she strangled? And her hair is all matted with blood and hacked off. I don't even know what colour it was. The murderer must have wanted her to suffer, so he started ripping her hair out. Just some scratches and bruises, that's all. The killer probably surprised her. She didn't even have time to defend herself. So, the murderer must have awfully strong hands, because he strangled her and left a dark ring around her neck. Then he took a short sword or a saber and started hacking at her. She's missing parts of her torso. But they are by the body. He also cut off most of her hair. He cut off her breasts, but left her tongue, then left her lying there for all to see. To send a message, maybe? Or a warning? Only if it was a warning for telltales, he would have cut out her tongue or something. I don't know why he killed her, but I don't think it's because of Catherine. What's the matter? Did you know her?
Alice. She was almost like a sister to me. We served together for years, in the same house. Why'd you ask? Who are you?
I'm trying to find out who did this to her. I'm afraid the killer might want to go after my friend as well.
Ah, I understand.
Who did you serve?
Our master is a local merchant. He is trying his hand at trading wine.
How did Alice get along with your master?
Fine. Just like with everyone. Our master is a bit strict, but he's fair.
What's his name? Can I speak to him?
Why? But you can't see him anyway. He's on...
It occurred to me that maybe he could have done it.
He couldn't. He was gone when it happened. He hadn't been home in several weeks. And besides, why would he kill them others too? He never even knew them.
What others?
You haven't heard. A few girls, like our Alice, died before. All really pretty girls.
Do you know what exactly happened to Alice?
No. Nobody saw or heard nothing. One day, she just didn't come home.
It's awful what they did to her.
She was such a pretty girl. And it didn't even leave that untouched. Who could have cut off her hair like that? And why? None of it...
Do you know of any suitors she might have had?
I know she was seeing someone. Why?
I'd like to talk to him as well.
But I don't know who it was. Alice said he was rich and dressed nicely.
And you never saw him?
No, never. I don't even know where she met with him.
So, I'll leave you to mourn in peace now.
Welcome. What can I do for you?
You must be the local gravedigger.
That's right. They call me František. At least them that can speak do. Greetings, Henry. What do you need?
That dead girl you have in the morgue. Alice.
You've seen her? Poor thing. Who could have done such a thing?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. Do you know anything about her?
She's gone to meet her maker. What more do you want to know? You want to take away a piece of her? Well, you can't. Not a hair off.
I don't want to take anything. I need to find something out.
Like what exactly?
Who killed her?
Why?
I'm in service of the Lords of Lipa. I'm to find out who was responsible for this murder.
What do the Lords of Lipa care about a dead girl?
Truth be told, not much. But it's at the request of her master.
Ah, that makes more sense. At least someone is trying to sort this out. The others weren't so lucky. It's true that Lumiere ain't shown no interest in her yet. I wouldn't expect that from him no more.
Who's this Lumiere? Another one of those gawkers and collectors?
No, no. He actually tried to help.
Help? How?
Well, he was investigating them others.
Right. You said she was.
Aye. We had a couple of similar cases. Lumiere said they was all killed by the same murderer.
And how did he come to that conclusion?
How do I know? Best ask...
Do you remember how many girls were killed?
You mean you don't know nothing about it? Here, even the sparrows are squawking about it.
I haven't been in Kuttenberg very long.
I see. There's been one every few weeks for the past year.
Do you know where the last one got killed?
I heard some talk about it when they brought her here.
Look for clues. Footprints, blood.
That can help you.
That's worth a try.
I heard she was killed by the town walls, close to the hole in the wall.
Thanks. What's this Lumiere got to do with this?
Well, like I told you, he used to work for the bailiff. I think he was a scribe.
A scribe keeps records in the Black Chronicle. Though I've never...
Well, the old bailiff wasn't all that interested in the common folk. But Lumiere, he was quite helpful. Folk heard about it and went to him with whatever was troubling them.
I'd like to speak with Lumiere.
At his home in Bohemia Street, that's near the... I don't know exactly why, though.
Thanks. You've been a big help.
It's my pleasure, especially helping someone from the land of the living again. Actually, wait a mo. Speaking of the living, there's a girl what comes here and grieves over that dead maid. I think her name is Barbara.
I know. I've already spoken to her.
Aha. Good then. Lots of luck to you.
Excuse me?
Where did you get that new bench?
Greetings.
Ours is all creaky, and I keep getting splinters from it. Nowhere. I made it myself.
Lumiere?
Oh, Christ, my head.
I need to ask you something.
I said not so loud.
That's some hang. Unless I'm willing to wait for him to sleep it off, I'll have to get him some kind of... This should sober him up. Here. Drink up. Better?
What? Who? What are you doing here? Who are you?
My name is Henry.
And what do you want from me?
I'm trying to find out who killed a certain girl. And I was sent to you.
To me? What for?
Are you Lumiere from the Rat House? The scribe?
I used to be. Now...
Well, you don't look crazy.
Yeah. But I am. I see things in my head that aren't real. And then I point my finger at the wrong people. I'm the biggest madman in Gutenberg.
But I need your help.
If I were you, lad, I'd leave it be. You can't help that girl anymore, anyway. You'll just end up hurting yourself.
Come now, Lumiere.
Poor girls. Nobody was all that interested in it, except for me. We let it be in the end. We let a monster walk among us. No way. You can't solve this yourself.
I'm not doing it for myself. I'm afraid he might kill one of my friends.
A friend, eh? That's not good. Not good at all. I searched high and low. And what did I get out of it? What makes you think you can find out?
Because I'm not stupid, and I notice things. I've successfully solved a murder before.
Is that so? A murder
Well, I said I'm not stupid. Not that I'm educated. I can read and write, too.
If only more people knew the difference. All right. Talk to me. Who was this dead girl?
Her name was Alice. She worked as a maid.
A maid? That fits. Yarka was a maid, too. As were most of the other victims. What did she look like?
I think that he strangled her first, and then went at her with a longer blade and disemboweled.
Did you notice the strangulation right away? It took me a while. Maybe you really will track him down.
Do you think it's the same murder?
Counting your girl, that makes 6 victims who were first strangled and then mutilated. If it's not all the same person...
This is the 6th one. How long has he been killing?
Probably about a year now. Sometimes it takes him months. Sometimes weeks. But I'm including missing girls. Stanya and Zdena.
Did the dead girls have anything in common?
Aside from being pretty young girls with no proper family or background, no. I couldn't find much.
Do you think somebody is killing them because they're poor and nobody will miss them?
Certainly. If somebody killed the daughter of a local lord, no stone would be left unturned.
But why does he even kill in the first place?
I don't know. Maybe he hates women. Damn it.
What can you tell me about Yarka?
She wasn't the first. But thanks to her, people started taking an interest. She was a maid in a German family. By all accounts, she was a pious, polite girl. She was orphaned as a child. The priest from the church of St. Peter and Paul, Father Prokop, raised her. They found her body tossed behind a barn at the edge of town. She was cut all the way...
Did you have any suspects?
At first, I thought the son from that family did it. But then I changed my mind.
Why?
Well, for one, I remembered the 2 girls before her who ended up almost the same. Besides that, when I talked to the lad, he seemed he wasn't the least bit interested in Yarka. Then his mother told me that they threw her out a week before the murder because she was a harlot who stayed out till all hours of the night. That really surprised me, because Father Prokop had vouched for her good reputation. Maybe he just didn't want to admit what had become of her.
What about Stanya?
She was an alehouse wench in a tavern of ill repute called the Hole in the Wall.
You said her body was never found. Maybe she just got out of town.
You have no idea how much I'd like to believe that. Only there was a lot of blood. Unfortunately, the investigation wasn't very successful. The Hole is a world of its own, and the people there aren't very forthcoming with information.
Did you suspect him?
You could suspect every second man there. The innkeeper, Mole, definitely knew Stanya, since she worked for him.
So if I want to learn anything more, I have to ask this mole in the hole.
Yeah, he still runs the place.
And what about that Zdena? You said her body was never found.
Exactly. But to tell the truth, nobody spent much time looking for it. Besides Alice, Zdena was the most recent victim. It's only been a few weeks since she went missing, but I suppose nobody wanted to do any more digging.
But if her body was never found, how do you know she was killed?
Because she was the same type as the other girls. Maybe the prettiest of them all. Young, beautiful. I never could pin it on her, though. She always found some way...
Maybe she robbed the wrong people and had to get out of town.
Maybe. She had a partner in crime by the name of Strunad. Quite a number. He's always... When I asked him about Zdena, he told me he'd rather rip his own tongue out than talk.
Do you think he'd be more forthcoming with me?
He might be. You're not known all over town like a catchpole. Besides, it might still be fresh in his memory. That would be a great help.
And what about the other two victims?
It all started with them, though nobody did much about it at the time. The first one worked as a bathhouse maid. She'd only been in town for a short while, and nobody really knew her. But the other one, Libushka, she was from Loretz. She was a maidservant, too. She said she was really cheerful and outgoing. She knew she was pretty, and knew she could do better than some farmhand.
You mean...
That's what it sounded like. But her mother never found out who she had her eye on.
Interesting.
In the graveyard, lad. It's sad to say, but we can't help those two dead girls now. And they can't help us with our investigation. There's nobody else left who could tell us anything about them.
Why were you looking into it? Who were those dead girls to you?
I don't know what people told you about me, but for many long years I was a scribe for Kuttenberg's bailiff. Kuttenberg is a big city with a lot of people. Silver, silver, silver. Mining it, smelting it. The bailiff was always running from hell to Hades, from one rich man to another.
But there are more than just rich burghers and lords in the city.
Exactly. There are common folk, too. There's a lot more of them, and their troubles are usually more serious. So when one of them came to the bailiff's one time, and the bailiff was running around somewhere, I started to deal with it myself.
Behind the bailiff's back?
Not really. Andreas supported my activities until...
What happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
Did you have any suspects back then?
You can always find some suspect. I always dragged the most suspicious ones to the body in the morgue by force. And they threw up at the sight. Or fainted.
Couldn't it have just been an act?
Fainting? Vomiting? That's hard to act. I'd swear none of them did it.
Can you sum it all up for me?
We have 6 victims here. And I believe they were all murdered by the same killer. Unfortunately, we only know a little about the last 4. The most recent ones. By now, we won't learn anything about the first 2. Of the remaining 4, the first to be killed was the maidservant, Yarka. She was raised by Father Prokop from the Church of St. Peter. The next were Stanya and Zdena. They both hung around a tavern they call the Hole in the Wall. And the last victim is Alice. What they all have in common is that they...
Good. I know everything I need to know.
When you learn something more, stop by and see me. You've aroused a bit of hope in me, lad.
God be with you. Keep the peace, and we'll stay friends.
Go home and sleep it off.
Hey, innkeeper, that's here. If you're gonna yell at each other, do it somewhere else.
He wants to fleece us again.
Damn it! That's just what we need today.
Exactly.
Of course.
Jesus Christ be praised. I'll be with you, sir.
Hey, where's that beer? A jug of wine, thanks.
Did Estanya work here?
Stanya. Maybe. It depends on who's asking.
My name's Henry.
Names don't interest me. The main thing is whether it's a good guest or a bad guest asking. What kind of guest are you, Henry?
I'm a good guest.
Really? Let's see. Do you know how to recognize a good guest?
By the fact he spends a lot of coin?
Aye. I like talking to them kind of guests. A lot. So, what'll it be, my good man?
What if I simply paid you and you tell me what I want to know?
Ask away.
I want to know if Stanya works here.
She did. And she don't know more. What's it to you?
I heard she disappeared without a trace. So I'm trying to find out if anyone had anything to do with it.
It's possible. The chamber she was sleeping in here was totally ransacked. The door open. Everything emptied out. And Stanya was gone. All I found were bloody footprints.
Tell me something else.
First, you'll have another beer.
What?
If you want to ask, you have to drink.
You're quite the extortionist.
I prefer to be... So, what'll it be?
I don't want to pay you any more. I think you could answer my questions directly and not always try to wheedle money out of me. That makes it look like you might have some motive for keeping me from finding out anything about that murder.
Nonsense. How could ask me anything you want?
Did anybody see what actually happened when Stanya disappeared?
No, it was at night. Nobody saw or heard anything. The tavern tends to be empty at that hour. And you won't meet many people on the street, neither.
What was Stanya like?
A bold woman. One has to be here. Everyone's ballsy here unless you nib it in the bud right away. She was hanging around a bard for a while. I don't know how close they were, but...
Someone from the city?
No. A charcoal burner. I think his name was... Barton?
What do you know about that bard?
What about him? He's a minstrel, a skirt chaser. He called himself William. As far as I know, he plays in the miners' tavern in the evenings.
You think he might have been the one?
Now that you mention it, he cleared out of town for a while and only came back not long ago. It could be him, all right. I know he met with some odd people. Besides, you know what minstrels are like. Lasses just flock to them. And like they say, opportunity makes the thief.
Or in this case... Apart from those men, did anyone else know Stanya? I mean, more intimately?
Well, I got bad news for you. She had two close friends, but you won't...
Why?
One was hit by a cart, and the other one got married and...
How did Stanya's room look?
The door was wide open. Most of her things were gone, but some remained. And there was blood.
Blood? Was there...
Not so much, really. More like hand or footprints. But they were near everywhere. If someone done her in, they definitely didn't do it in that chamber.
Where can I find this Barton?
I already told you. In the Vrchlitz Valley.
Could you be a bit more precise?
I don't know that bloke at all. All I know, so if I was you,
That's all I need to know.
God bless.
Greetings to you two.
Are you Sternad? The one that went with Zdena?
Who the fuck are you?
Just an ordinary bloke.
Well then piss off. You won't. All you're gonna get here is a kicking.
Why so rash? Let's make a deal. You tell me everything you know about Zdena, and I'll make sure you're no worse for wear.
Ah. You're the lord what that whore robbed. Don't worry about it. She weren't nothing but a lying.
So, if I understand correctly, we can make a deal?
For the right price, I'll tell you all I know.
Is this the right price?
You fucking bet it is.
Where can I find Zdenna?
Aye. That's what I like to fucking know too. Last time I saw her, well, that'd be back when she managed to fleece you.
Yeah. Well,
I can well imagine. Well, she went to Rabstein Mill. It's quite a long ways away. She had some unfinished business with some bloke called Pint. Ain't nobody.
what can you tell me about Zdenna?
What do you want to hear? I try to keep her out of trouble, but there's...
So you were taking care of her?
Well, just in front of the others. Other than that, she did what she wanted.
So you weren't too fond of her?
Not really, no. But she did have a knack for making coin.
Did she have any friends or lovers who'd know more? Did anybody come here to see her?
Who'd come to see that bitch? She was always off somewhere, seeing someone.
Someone came to see her?
Well, aye. Some stuffed frock came here once. He said he had some job for her. That she should leave behind her sinful life and all. But he left empty-handed.
Do you know who that priest was?
Some fucking Prokop or Pravoslav or some... But that reminds me. I saw her a couple of times with another bastard. That fucking bard, William.
And could she have run away with this bard, William?
With that lily-livered fop? Well, he ain't been seen in town for some time, but I think someone was out to get him. He still don't come here no more. He plucks that loot of his in...
What do you know about this priest?
Not much. Seems they knew each other from before. And he had some job for her somewhere. But she weren't stupid. She told him to fuck right off.
And did he go?
Aye, indeed. He didn't look like the kind of fella that'd not... I think he just told her if she changed her mind to come and see him.
And could she have changed her mind and gone to him? And that's why nobody's seen her?
No, no. She took off.
I've heard enough.
Excuse me?
One punch and this sock will be stretched.
Greetings.
Easy, good horse.
Are you blind?
You almost ran into
Die! Quick! Go! Quick! Go! Quick!
Hey! You nearly ran
Ah! Ah! Go! Ah!
Ow!
Ah! Ah! Quick! Quick!
I need to ask you something.
I don't have time for that. Ask the foreman. You'll find him around.
Are you the foreman?
If you're here for charcoal, you'll have to wait.
I'm not here about charcoal. I'm looking for Stanya.
Aha! And why are you looking here?
I heard she was consorting with some...
Well, I don't know nothing about that. Who goes with who?
I'm sorry.
Praise God.
God bless.
I'm looking for someone named Stanya.
You're in a charcoal camp, fella. What would a woman be doing here?
But you know Stanya, don't you?
Aye. You could say that. Why?
I'm looking for the killer of a girl in town. And I heard that someone also tried to kill this Stanya.
That's true. She told me something like that. But that was a long time ago.
So you don't know what became of her?
I really don't know, mate. But even if I did know, how can I be sure you aren't that killer?
Lumir himself, the Kuttenberg bailiff's former scribe, gave me the task. He was looking into her disappearance, and he sent me to find her.
Well, I remember Lumir. He was all right.
But what?
You seem like the right man for a job like that. Sorry, but after all that happened to Stanya, I like to be careful.
So Stanya is here?
Aye. She's hiding with us. Since that thing happened, she's afraid to even go outside.
Can I speak to her?
If it'll help you. She's hiding in that cottage. But be nice to her. Till we meet again.
Who are you? How did you find me? If you came here to finish what you started, I'm not afraid.
Don't be afraid. Barton told me where to find you.
Barton sent you to me.
Lumir thought you were dead. I was supposed to find out what happened to you.
Lumir? From the rat...
Exactly. Someone killed a girl in Kuttenberg. Lumir thought it might be connected with you, so maybe you could help us find out who did it.
How can I help you when I haven't been in Kuttenberg since... I don't even know when.
You disappeared from the hole in the wall without saying goodbye. Without a word. What happened?
Someone attacked me when I was coming home from the baths one night. I managed to get away, but I was so afraid. I decided to run away from Kuttenberg.
Did you see who it was?
Not at all. I didn't see anything until he jumped out of the shadows and grabbed me around the neck. And he was terribly strong.
And how did you manage to break free?
I had an empty pitcher in my hand, and I hit him with it. He howled.
Here? To the charcoal burners?
No. First to my room, and I was so scared there. I took what I could and ran.
And your lover? What did he say?
At first he was horrified, because I had cut myself on a shard from the pitcher and was all bloody. He's been hiding me here since then.
What was it like working in the hole?
Well, I earned a few groschen, that I did, but I often had to grit my teeth.
How so?
Every single day I had to put up with their lewd remarks. Rich people, well, us girls have to watch out. We can't just put up with it, and sometimes we have to be tough, especially in a place like the hole. But you can't overdo it either.
How so?
Because if you smile at them nicely, then sometimes they leave a groschen, or even two. You have to keep a balance.
You said that rich or poor, they all like to grope girls. Like who?
Truth be told, the hole isn't exactly a good place for a rich man, but young von Groll used to go there for a...
Is that so?
He smiled at me a lot, so I smiled back, but beyond a few groschen, there was nothing more to it. Then this thieving wench started hanging around him, and that servant of his didn't like it, tried to drive her away, and so the young lord stopped bringing him with him.
Von Groller had a servant with him?
Aye, a pudgy fella, well-dressed. He never said a word or smiled, or even said thank you.
You walked home from the baths at night?
What's so odd about that?
Well, at night, the baths are...
Ah, right. I went there after closing. I always brought the girls a pitcher of wine or ale and took a bath while they drank it.
Aha. So that's why you had the empty pitcher you hit him with?
Right. I went there regularly.
The same way every time?
Aye, always the same way. The shortest one.
And who knew that you went by yourself to the baths?
Well, everyone from the tavern, I reckon.
Why didn't you go back to the hole?
Just to get murdered there. I'm never going back there.
How are you now?
I'm still awful scared, and I can't even really leave the house.
Do you remember anything important about the attacker? What he looked like? What he was wearing?
I don't know anything. It was at night.
And what about when you hit him? What did he do?
He let me go, and...
Aha! And what did he say?
He said Scheisse, in German.
Seems you're the only one to survive the killer's attack. I know it isn't easy for you to think about it, but try to remember something else about that moment, or when you were running away. Anything can help us, even if it seems insignificant.
I don't know.
You were walking down the street. Did you notice anything before he attacked you?
No, nothing.
You didn't see anything or hear anything?
Actually, I knew the side street wasn't empty. I heard somebody talking, but when I looked, there was nobody there. So when somebody grabbed me, I completely froze.
Did you understand what they were talking about?
Not at all. But there were two voices. Two of them waiting for me there.
It's difficult, I understand. But I need you to think hard, aside from those voices and the empty...
I didn't hear him at all. And then...
And nothing else? Did he grab your hair?
Well, no. He grabbed me by the throat right away and squeezed. Just for a moment, but I still had a big bruise round my neck for weeks. Barton said the man must have had a terribly strong grip, like a miner or swordsman.
I heard William liked pretending to be a spy. Do you know anything about that?
Aye, I thought it pretty silly. Astute, though, I reckon he's more likely to attract an art...
Couldn't it have been that innkeeper, then?
Aye, when he drinks, he turns into a total bastard. All lewd room. Only when I got to my room, I could hear him snoring.
Couldn't it have been Father Prokop?
Father Prokop? I don't know him.
No, he's pretty old. He preaches in the Church of St...
I don't know him. And if he's an old man, how strong could it...
I reckon that'll be all.
I'm sorry I'm not able to help you more.
You don't need to apologise.
Thank you. Could I ask you for a favour?
If it's in my power.
When you catch that bastard, would you...
I'll stop by if I can.
See you soon, my friend. Ugh, what a mess.
Pray for a quick death, you bastard!
Show your stuff! Fuck yourself!
Quick!
Are you Pint?
I am. Why?
I'm looking for his Denner.
I don't know any Denner.
Sternad said something different.
You're a friend of Stern.
Actually, I don't really know him that well. But he's the only one I know who knew Denner.
Well, if he told you that, I reckon it's all right.
I wouldn't entirely count on that. So you knew Denner? Can you tell me something about her?
I know Denner all right, but she ain't been here in some time. Why are you looking for her?
I'm looking for her... Back in the city, they think she's either dead or run off somewhere.
Kurva.
What can you tell me about Denner?
She always had it hard. She lost her parents and her home as a child.
And what about Sternad?
Stannard was her guardian angel, as she used to say. If she hadn't been thieving with him, she probably would have ended up a whore. But by sharing with him, she could do what she wanted.
Uh-huh. I'm surprised she stuck with him as long as she did.
That's because she had a hideout somewhere. That's why she'd come to me with her loot. And the last time she was here, she said one more haul like this, and she'll be able to go wherever she wanted.
I heard she wanted to sell you some valuables. Is that true?
Oh, aye. She had a good haul. No rubbish. Mostly jewelry.
She left it all here. I paid her a pretty sum of coin. It was a good thing she had a basket with her. Otherwise, she couldn't have carried it all.
And what about that signet ring?
She didn't sell me the ring. She wanted to keep it. Said it'd bring her luck someday.
Do you know what kind of luck she meant? Did you recognize the signet on the ring?
No. I didn't recognize that signet. But all the while, Dana was giggling to herself.
Where did she go next from here?
That she did. She also had a feeling someone was following her.
Someone followed her on a horse from Kuttenberg. Did she say what he looked like?
She didn't. At first, she thought it was some wealthy lord out for a ride. But he...
And did you see him?
No. But Stena thought he would show. She even left her scarf here and paid some girl to walk around with it to make it...
And then where'd she go?
She wanted to go the back way, through the woods. So past the woods is a road and a ford across a stream. Next to it is a huge boulder. When it rains, the water can run...
Well, if it leads back to the road and there was really someone following her, I reckon if they saw she was long in returning, they could have waited for her at the ford, no?
Fuck! I made a point of looking, but I didn't see any riders that...
And could it have been Father Prokop following her?
What do I know? If he has a horse...
I heard he wanted to find her an honest job, but she wasn't interested.
I don't know. She didn't...
And could it have been William?
And who would that be?
He's this bard she was seeing.
I don't know about that.
Well, I'll go and check out that fort.
I hope you don't. Take care and have a good night.
That has to be that ford Pike was talking about. I should take a look around here. This must be that basket of silver Zdena was carrying with her. She wouldn't have just left that here. But where did it come from? Maybe it rolled down the hill? Oh, poor thing. She didn't get very far. Ugh, she's been lying in. At first glance, this body isn't as mutilated as... Unfortunately, I can't tell if somebody strangled her like the others, but her head is smashed in. Either the murderer hit her with a rock, or she must have put up a fight. Or maybe he lost it. Oh, she's all stuck to her clothes. The rips are odd. Like someone was looking for something. Oh, I can't make much out by now. But it seems as if the fingers on her right hand are... Did the murderer torture her? Or was he trying to get something out of her hand? Oh, my God. How did it get inside her? Did she swallow it herself? Was she trying to hide it? Or was it punishment for stealing? Well, that's enough. But what does it all mean? I'd say she put up a decent fight, and that's about all I can find out. But that ring is a good lead.
Good day to you. What brings you here?
Father, I need to ask you a few questions.
I don't have time for theological...
That's not why I'm here. My name's Henry, and I wanted to ask about the murder that happened recently. Someone killed and gutted a young maidservant and left her body lying by the city walls. And I hear it's not the first time this has happened.
Another one murdered. May the Lord grant her eternal rest. Why is it you ask?
I fear for my sister. She's also a maid.
Yes. Fear for those close to you is commendable. What would you like to hear?
One of the other victims was a girl named Yarka. But I reckon you know that, don't you? What can you tell me about her?
About Yarka? She was an ordinary girl.
Where did you know Yarka from?
I knew her since she was a little girl.
And?
I was her uncle. When my brother and his wife died, I took care of her.
You raised her? A priest with a child?
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm not the first of the clergy to...
No offense, but How did you know what to do? Without a wife, without a family?
I was a bit, when she was smaller, it was fine, but when she grew up a bit, maybe I was too hard on her.
How does that even work? Did you have her with you at the presbytery?
When she was small, I could. But when she grew up, she had to go. It wouldn't look right.
Why do you think you were too hard on her?
Yarko was an orphan. With her only chance of a good life was a good upbringing. But the more I led her in that direction, the more she resisted me.
You're well off, though. Couldn't you provide for her?
I couldn't.
But how come?
The church's property always remains the church's.
How did she rebel against you?
She wouldn't listen. She ran away. She ran around with all sorts. And how did it turn out? She died. And in sin. Such a disgrace.
Disgrace? What the devil are you talking about?
She was pregnant! Even if she had lived, what then? Nobody would want to marry her anymore.
Who do you think killed her?
William, that pig of Satan. He gambles in the tavern on All Saints' Day and leads the locals astray. Yarka always went there to listen to music. I'm sure he got her with child.
Why do you think it was William? Do you have any evidence?
Evidence? He's a skirt chaser, a tool of Satan.
And does anyone else come to mind? No other man spoke with her?
No.
Why don't you respect Lumiere?
That's my business. I won't tell you any.
Come now, Father. I'm not just asking out of curiosity. Isn't it written in Scripture, speak up for those who have no voice?
A layman quotes the Bible to Lumiere, accused me of her murder.
What?
Yes. He slandered me in public.
And how... What happened then?
It turned out he was deranged. How could he even think such a thing? He's finished in...
I've heard enough, Father. I'll be going.
Son, I'll give you some good advice. Don't listen to Lumiere. That man has gone completely mad.